Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back to Bald Father Bets. We'll do a quick recap of Week 18 NFL Sunday, our last regular season day of the year for NFL. Talk a little bit about what you should do if you're in a certain situation with regards to futures for the college football playoff, and then go into our pick for the Orange Bowl tonight between Penn State and Notre Dame, semifinal leading into the national championship game. Really excited for that one. But first, as always, please help support the channel, guys. We'll always keep our winnings free, always keep these picks free, having a really good year. Only thing that we ask is please subscribe, notifications on, so you get our community posts, and then help us get into that YouTube algorithm. Like, share, comment on this video. Share it around to your football friends, any betting friends you have, anything like that. Really appreciate the engagement and the support. I love the back and forth with you guys as well. That's what makes this fun to do, actually. So, NFL Sunday, Week 18, we went 18-6. The Lions play was actually a larger unit play. I said at the beginning of the video that one would be the only one that was more than 2 units, but then I never actually said the unit amount. So unfortunately, can only give myself credit for 2 units on that one. But still, a good day for us overall. 16-8, not 18-6, but overall, good day for us to close out the regular season. Looking forward to playoffs now coming up. Obviously, we're going to be coming at you all weekend, today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Great 5-day stretch of football here, but really good matchups in the playoffs for wild card round, and then that always leads into great matchups for the divisional round as well. So one thing I want to start before we go into this Penn State Notre Dame breakdown, and then ultimately who we're gonna pick here against the spread. Some of you may be in a situation where you have futures tickets on these teams that are currently playing in the college football playoff, and then you're looking at where should you hedge to guarantee yourself a winner. So I'm in the situation, I think a lot of you are in this one. I have an Ohio State ticket after they lost to Michigan to win the national title. I also have a Texas ticket after they lost to Georgia. I don't know if as many people have that situation, so I'm going to kind of go through both. If you have just an Ohio State ticket, and it's after they lost to Michigan, you're getting really good value on them. I would say you don't really need to do much outside of if you want to hedge with a Texas ticket, potentially. Very little chance that the winner of the Cotton Bowl doesn't ultimately win the national championship. I think you can. The only other one that I would consider is hedging with a Penn State ticket, because you're still getting plus 400 odds on Penn State. Obviously, the fact that Ohio State is highly favored to beat Texas is factored into the ultimate odds for the playoffs. So right now, Ohio State is favored minus 120. Then you have Notre Dame, then you have Texas, then you have Penn State. Notre Dame's ahead of Texas because they're factoring in the fact that Texas has to play Ohio State in the next game, and Ohio State's clearly the best team. But if you have that Ohio State ticket and you're looking for that hedge, depending on what odds you have, you could look at splitting that hedge between Texas and Penn State, or you could look at putting that full hedge on one of those two. If you have both an Ohio State and a Texas ticket, now is definitely the time to get in on Penn State. The number isn't right for Notre Dame. It just isn't, and Notre Dame matches up horrendously against either Ohio State or Texas. It's like the worst matchup that they could actually draw is an Ohio State or a Texas matchup. So I would not put anything on Notre Dame to win the title at this point. The other one is if you have no futures bet and you like Ohio State tomorrow, but you don't really want to mess around with the spread or lay the 225 on the money line, you could make a Ohio State national title ticket. If you think they're going to get past Texas, which most models say that they will, and obviously most people, just eye test says they're going to get past Texas tomorrow, then a way you could get in and still get a good payday and not having to lay too much juice. You don't want to mess around with the -6 or the -6.5 or the -5.5. You can take Ohio State to win the title. You can get it anywhere between even money and -120. Obviously, look for the best odds possible that you have, but it's not a bad play. It's not a bad play at all if you're very confident in them. So that's it for our futures talk. I just wanted to give you guys some hedging advice for those who either already have tickets or don't have a ticket but looking to place one now that we're down to the final 4 teams. So heading into tonight's matchup, we'll do a little breakdown since it's a semifinal game, big game before we actually get the pick. We'll start with when Notre Dame is on offense and when Penn State's on defense. So Notre Dame on offense is extremely one-dimensional. They are a run team first. They're run-centric at the quarterback. Everything they do is based off the run. They are extremely good at outside zone. They will spam outside zone over and over and over again until they hit it. They often end up hitting it for a big run by the end of the game. Obviously, against Indiana, hit it pretty early with a 98-yard touchdown run. And then against Georgia, didn't hit it for anything like that. But by the end of the game, they had taken control with that outside zone. With that, any passing attack that they have, they're looking to build off of that. And oftentimes you don't really see that until in the second half. And you see it off of rollouts, off the play action, putting Riley Leonard on the move, and then looking to deliver something in that mid-yardage range. Against Indiana, he was essentially perfect. He's struggled with accuracy before, but against Indiana, man, there was zero struggles whatsoever with accuracy. Some of those windows were a little bit tighter than I think people would realize. Notre Dame is not strong at wide receiver. Getting separation from the secondary is not something that they do off of just regular passing sets. Oftentimes, if you see Notre Dame receivers with separation, it's because the secondary had to come down to support run and bit on a play fake. The other thing that they're gonna do is they're gonna be a very frustrating offense to play against. Nothing like Michigan was last year, but one of the things that was so interesting about Michigan was this whole time feeling like, oh, we're so close to getting Michigan off the field. But in reality, that was exactly what Michigan was trying to do, setting up 3rd and short, setting up 4th and 1s, 4th and inches, and just continuously converting, holding onto the ball, and frustrating the other team into making mistakes. Notre Dame doesn't do that as well as Michigan did last year, but that is a lot of their MO. They're an extremely opportunistic offense. So we'll get into the other side when Notre Dame's on defense, but when they are on offense, coming off of a turnover, they cash in on those turnovers a lot, and their defense produces a lot of turnovers. Like I said, the things that they don't really do well is traditional passing game, red zone offense, because they are so one-dimensional when the field condenses down. Oftentimes, teams sell out to stop the run. They go one-on-one with the wide receivers, and a lot of defenses are able to win those one-on-one battles with them. The game against Georgia, when they got the turnover right before half, they scored on a one-on-one battle with a wide receiver, threw to the wide receiver of the middle, got it, touchdown. Georgia wasn't able to cover it, and you could see they sold out to stop the run. It's an interesting situation with Notre Dame. They're one of the more difficult teams to kind of categorize with analytics, because analytics tell you on the offensive side that they're not really that good of a team, but that's not the full story. The offense executes essentially what the offense is asked to execute on a very consistent basis. So Penn State defensive side, analytics are going to tell you a few things here: that they're very good at stopping the run, that they have sometimes difficulty stopping the pass. Abdul Carter is an absolute beast. His status for tonight is still up in the air, considered to be a game-time decision, considered to be a true game-time decision, which most of the time game-time decisions are not. Usually figure out, at least that morning of whether someone's going to play. Sounds like it's a true game-time decision. The thing with Abdul Carter is he's so versatile. And, obviously people know him as a pass rusher, but that's maybe not where he's going to give you the best benefit tonight. A lot of the best benefit that you're going to get from him tonight is stopping the run. And if he's asked to stop the run rather than a pass rush, do they essentially move him to the second line of defense and have him roam around as a linebacker behind the line in order to stop the run? Because that can take a lot of the stuff off the shoulder where you're engaging with an offensive lineman and you need that leverage back and forth. I just kind of following Abdul Carter's career. I think he's going to play tonight. I think he's at least going to give it a go. I'm sure he'll have a shot before the game. And then if he has to come out of the game because he just can't handle it, that's a possibility. I can't see him not at least giving it a go. And he's such a huge piece. They don't have Chop Robinson on the other side anymore. Abdul Carter is, if not the best defensive player in college football, he's one of the best defensive players in college football. Penn State is also a team that can get opportunistic with turnovers. We saw that against SMU. But they also have a tendency, they can bite a little bit. You can get them with some double moves and things like that. The problem is Notre Dame doesn't have anyone that can really test that. Notre Dame's not an explosive offense. We're not talking about Ohio State or Texas here. They don't have anything that's going to kind of exploit what you would think in terms of an aggressive Penn State defense. Now, on this side of the ball, I think it's really boring, honestly. I think Notre Dame's going to do what they're going to try and do on offense. Penn State's going to do what they try to do. They're decent at stopping the run. I think you're going to have a really boring game when Notre Dame has the ball. Not a lot of explosive plays, methodical drives that either end in punts or field goals, and maybe one or two that end in touchdowns. If it's a short field because Notre Dame set them up with a turnover, that's really when Notre Dame's going to have to capitalize. So then let's flip it over to the other side. So Penn State on offense and Notre Dame on defense. I'm going to start with the Notre Dame side. Statistics would tell you that Notre Dame is excellent at stopping the pass and that they can sometimes get got by the run. Statistics are lying to you. Notre Dame is not good at defending the pass. The case in point is the USC game. It's really the one that I love to point to for this. Notre Dame can very much so, outside of Xavier Watts, get got in the secondary. They do not stick to wide receivers all that great. They do not have the best secondary. They've really gone up against no one outside of USC that had a passing attack, a quarterback that could really test it. They played against two service academies this year, opened up against Texas A&M when Weigman was clearly playing with some sort of injury, and A&M was not a good passing team all year, and they did not really play any sort of juggernaut quarterbacks, future NFL quarterbacks, anything like that. They're better at stopping the run than their statistics would tell you. Again, they played two service academies. They went up against pretty solid rush offenses all year long. Had this been flipped, had they had a more balanced schedule, you would see that the rushing statistics be a little bit better and the passing statistics be a little bit worse. They're going to do everything they can to create turnovers. It's what the entire team, not just the defense, but the entire team of Notre Dame is based off of. It's creating a turnover at an opportunistic time, setting up their offense with a short field, getting a lead, getting a score, and putting the other team on their heels. Notre Dame is a big fan of the fact that football is only 60 minutes. If it was up to them, it'd probably only be 50 minutes. They love shortening the game. They love frustrating you. They're very frustrating to play against if you're on the other team, and they get opposing coaching staffs to press and make mistakes. And that really starts with the defense. Obviously, missing Mills still, that's a big loss for them. I know it didn't rear its head against Georgia, but he's still gone. He's not coming back for this game. It's a very big loss. Penn State on offense. We're going to start with the wide receivers because they also aren't any good. So where both these teams, you really have an opportunity to kind of get them with big plays, especially in the passing game. Neither team has the wide receivers to really get it. Now what Penn State has is Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren is the best tight end in college football this year and a top 3 tight end coming up in the NFL draft. You could make an argument for a few people from an NFL perspective that should go over him, or you could say, I don't care, look at his college tape, Warren's my guy. He's unbelievable. If you watch the USC game, Penn State USC, if you need any kind of confirmation of that, he's going to make some plays. Look at the touchdown catch he had against Boise State. He and two touchdown catches he had against Boise State. He and Aller have a very, very good connection. He's their threat within the passing game. They have a solid offensive line, and then Allen and Singleton that's one of the best running back duos in the country. I don't think they're quite as good as Henderson and Judkins from Ohio State, but they are very much in that conversation of who's the best running back duo in college football. They can get a little too cute sometimes with offense. It's funny, Kotelnicki, he's one of the best offensive coordinators in the country, but sometimes this year it's like, hey, just do this and you'll be fine. Similar thoughts on the Boise State-Penn State game where it was so frustrating. It was like if they just handed the ball to Singleton and Allen, they would have rushed for 500 yards, but they kept trying to kind of throw in all these different things they baked in their game plan. So the offense is definitely more creative and more explosive this year, even though sometimes it's like, hey, you don't need to be. Go back to James Franklin's old system where you just hand the ball up off the middle 100 times in a row and hope that it gets you a win. I don't think that will be the case this game. They're going to need Kotelnicki's schemes. They're going to need him to be more creative. It's actually offensive coordinator versus offensive coordinator. It's one of the better matchups you're going to have all year. You have Denbrock. He's one of my favorites. He was at LSU last year with that Jaden Daniels offense. Now at Notre Dame, he's been getting as much as he can out of what they have there. And then obviously Kotelnicki from Kansas, and now at Penn State, you've seen what he's done. Drew Aller, very, very high possibility. I'm one of the people who believes it as well, that he will be round one, pick one of the 2026 NFL draft. He is the prototypical NFL quarterback. Reminds me a lot at this stage in his career of Roethlisberger and Allen. That high 50s completion percentage, but just can make every throw, excellent arm strength. The size is incredible, very difficult to bring down. Not like he's a runner by any means, but just kind of like that, Big Ben back in the pocket. It's like, all right, you get to him, but then you got to get him down. Aller's a big kid, difficult to get down. I'm a big Aller fan. You guys have known that all year long. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in college football, especially when he's on, but he will play some games that are just mind-blowingly bad. So you always have that possibility, especially going up against a Notre Dame defense that's very tough and that creates turnovers, and he can be turnover prone. Only thing that I forgot to mention in that is one more. When Notre Dame's on offense and Penn State's on defense, Penn State this season has had issues bringing runners down who get to the second level. Their defensive line's fantastic at tackling runners. When they get to the linebacker, the secondary level, Penn State has actually had quite a few missed tackles. That did not happen against Boise State. It didn't rear its head against Boise State. They were excellent. Genty got to the second level more times than people remember in that game, and they brought him down. So a 5 or 6 yard gain is a 5 or 6 yard gain rather than turning into a 25 yard plus gain or a touchdown. They are going to have to do that same thing tonight against Notre Dame. If Notre Dame is breaking tackles in their run game, very high likelihood that Notre Dame will end up winning. So for the pick, ultimately, guys, this one it's a coin flip game. It's why the spread is where it is. It's why the spread's bounced around anywhere between 1 and 2.5 all week. My model has this that Penn State should be favored by a half a point. Caveat to that is, in my model, I have personally downranked Notre Dame's pass defense. So for the most part of my model, I just kind of let it go how I built it. I've gone in and personally downranked their pass defense because I just don't think they're all that great. I like in a coin flip game like this, I like taking the points. So best you can get it at this point now. I like Penn State plus the 2. I think Penn State has a slightly better roster here. I know it's James Franklin, and he is God, he is frustrating. It's unbelievable to watch sometimes. And this is the exact type of game that Franklin loses. I've said this before. If the game is a spread out, high scoring, tons of points game, Franklin actually does it really well. I know he lost that Rose Bowl to USC back in like 16 or whatever, like 50-48. But for the most part, in high scoring games, that's why I was so high on Penn State against Oregon in the Big Ten championship game. Unfortunately, they just didn't get it done. But he does well in these phone booth, low scoring, every decision matters type games. He essentially all the games he's played against Ohio State and Michigan over the past 3 years, he makes just the worst decisions, and it's mind-blowing because he's been a head coach for so long, he's had so much success, and it just doesn't make any sense. I know it's a Franklin game. On the other side, people are giving Freeman his flowers, which he deserves. Everybody needs to calm down, about the whole he's a genius and look how much he outcoached Kirby Smart, acting like the fourth down getting the other guys to jump off sides was like the most genius thing they've ever seen. It really wasn't. He ran his punt team off. He ran his offense on. Georgia responded by running their punt team off, running their defense on. They did a hard count, and they got him to jump. So, okay, yes, did that run not allow Kirby to, tell his defense, hey, they could be trying to get you to jump? Yeah, for sure. But it wasn't like they got Georgia in terms of a procedure penalty where they caught him in not being able to substitute or having a substitute infraction. They hard counted and they got Georgia to jump. It's not that big of a deal. It was a good move by Freeman. Kirby clearly didn't understand how the rule worked, but he responded to it correctly in terms of getting his players on. So Notre Dame didn't beat Georgia because Freeman just put this masterclass coaching on Kirby. They beat Georgia because they scored 17 points in less than a minute in between the halves. Obviously, some of that's coaching, and Freeman's done a really good job with this team, especially post the Northern Illinois loss. But this idea that Freeman may be like the best game manager left of the four college coaches, if you think Marcus Freeman is a better head coach than Ryan Day, I don't really know what to tell you. You're wrong. He's not. So anyway, we like Penn State here. We're taking them plus the 2, and we're going to do this one for 5 units. If we were able to get plus 3, it would be a higher unit play. But at plus 2, it's, I think this game is maximum 4 points either way. And obviously, if you're, the most common number that a football game can land on, if you're looking at a 4-point game either way, is 3. So unfortunately, we can't get the 3, so we can only get the 2. And that's why it's only a 5-unit play and not more. But really excited for this one. Can't wait to watch the Orange Bowl. One other thing, it's cold for Miami. It's cold down in Miami tonight, so shouldn't be any impact in terms of cramping or, you have 2 teams from north coming down south. You always worry about that. Will they be hydrated? Are they going to get tired? Will there be cramps? Shouldn't be a problem. Miami, for an outdoor grass field, is a pretty fast track for grass. Obviously, it's not as fast as the Cotton Bowl is going to be on turf in Dallas, but pretty fast track. So don't expect anything too bad there. That favors Penn State a little bit. Notre Dame definitely likes to play on a thicker grass field, but shouldn't really have any impact. Coin flip game, like I said, if we were getting plus 3 with either side, that would be worth it for more units, but can't get that. So Penn State plus the 2 for 5 units. So let's go Nittany Lions tonight, and we will be back at you again tomorrow for the Cotton Bowl. Really appreciate you guys tuning in and watching, and please help support our channel. Like, share, comment this video, and make sure you are subscribed.